the next topic I wanted to talk about is kind of career ambitions and material ambitions that all young people face. And I think something that we really struggle with is that kind of a lot of the teachings it revolves around detaching yourself. How can you detach yourself when you need to? How can a young person reconcile their ambitions with the ideology of letting go of desire? Because it is important for us to, in some ways, achieve some sort of material success. I know you've mentioned there's a story about a man who had a little goat, and someone told him to go to a shop, and then he can get more goats and more money, and then and like you said, we all can't just run away to the mountains. So how do we kind of reconcile these things that seemingly are very contradictory?
There's one thing in trying to lead a reasonably happy life, comfortable, external world. That's one thing. And there's the other, which is an exaggeration of it, a lopsided thinking of greed and always trying to be greedy about more and more. I have divided this into two. Both are not the same. When a young person wants to find a decent job or a decent girl that wants to lead a life normally, I don't want to call it desire. This is not a desire, it's a natural tendency to find safety, security and happiness, which is quite okay. May we be protected is the first sloka in the Sahana Bhavatu. So it's all right to be protected, but this is kind of unreasonable greed and trying to grab what others have for yourself. If we can put some kind of a break on that, then there is no harm. And for that you need to have, apart from your physical life's activities and your material activities and ambitions, you also need to realize that people have everything and they don't seem to be happy.
Yes.
So we should always keep one side of ourselves understanding this, so that tomorrow if something happens, you're not terrified. You know that you have a safe haven inside you, not outside you, which can't be shaken from outside. Lay treasures in your heart where thieves do not break in and steal. Bible. A wandering yogi in Jerusalem said that 1,000 years ago. So it applies to everybody. So therefore I am saying, for youngsters, side by side with ways and means to improve their career, be secure and all that, there should be some kind of teaching which says, but don't be too greedy, because you cannot satisfy everything by just building houses. There is another aspect to this which will stand you in good stead even if your house collapses. This is what is permanent, with what is impermanent. So while you see this world, we all know that it is impermanent, though we wouldn't like to admit it, mainly because we don't know if there's anything permanent. So this is permanent enough. So therefore they have to be told that there were people, there were sages, there were people who have explored and found that there's also something else, and which is not far away. You think it's far, tad dure, tad vadantiki, but it is very close. Somebody said it is nearer to you than your own neck vein, jugular vein. So when you have something like that, say, wouldn't it be a good idea to spend little time on that also? So that while you go on and face dangers, you have a safe haven from where you can operate. Let's put it this way.
Okay.
No, I'm trying.
Yeah. So make sure that we carve out some time for that in tandem with all the other things.
Exactly. And now, it need not necessarily in the beginning be any meditation connected to the traditions. If it's there, it's okay. But if it is not there, go out into the woods, go off into the mountains, go to the sea coast, go where people don't know you. The problem is when people know you. Get out and go to a place where nobody can recognize you. You sit and you enjoy the sunset. You watch the full moon or the crescent moon, it doesn't matter. Or you look at the sea. You know why the heart expands? When I say heart, I'm not talking about the mind or the brain/brain. It expands because nature is not man-made. Nobody knows who made the mountains. Nobody knows who made the sea. It's there. It's nature. So therefore it's not man. Now these are all man-made things. So when you're with man-made things, you think like a man. Like a human being, sorry. If you're in places where there is less of man-made things or human-made things, then your mind is moving towards that which is original.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say, some young people may say, oh, but we don't want to meditate. Why should we chant Om? Okay, take out some time every month, if possible, where you can go and stay quietly in some place. And when you go there, don't hypnotize yourself and drug yourself. Be free, open to see nature. So all these things have to be discussed with youngsters and they should understand this. If you say, oh, but you should also set apart some time to meditate, some people might be put away by this. But why should we exclude them?
Okay.
They're human beings. Just because they don't want to say, oh, they're human beings.
That's true. Yeah.
So my next book is going to be Yoga for the Godless.
Okay.
Because there are lots of people who are good people, but they don't believe in God. So what? After all, you believe in God, but you only believe, you don't know.
True.
How different are you from them? Not you, I mean.
True. Very true. I think that's...
And some of these questions I'm going to deal with in that book.
Okay.
Good, you sparked it.
Okay. I'll leave this with you then.
Yeah. I will even acknowledge if you like.
Okay. I think that's great advice for somebody who's trying to figure out a way to practically carve something out. And
look, expect disasters always. There's
Okay.
nothing wrong with that. But don't get this thing that everything is going to be smooth sailing. It's not. This is the way of the world. Mm-hmm. Something down, something up. So when you know that, then you know how to face it and get over it.
And would you say that when we are going through, like you said that we shouldn't detach ourselves from ambition because that's a part of our nature.
It's right. It's
But-
part of your nature. But the thought of trying to find the Supreme Being is also part of our ambition. Mm-hmm. It's not different from that. It may be on a different angle, but it's the same thing.
Right.
When the yogi leaves everything and goes to the mountain, he thinks he's giving up the trinkets and finding the treasure. That's what he thinks. It's not that he's giving up anything. So that is natural to expand. See, this is why I always nowadays say that this whole thing is about completeness. You were there in Guru Purnima?
Yes.
So I spoke about Purna, right? So this is inbuilt in us. You can't stop it. But you have to learn that after a certain limit, it can only be found inside. It can't be found outside. And all this life is about finding that completeness, Purna. Because we feel we are incomplete.
Okay. And would you say that in the search for finding completeness, also side by side with our ambitions, should we let go of the result? Like, I think some stress and anxiety comes from maybe not just being ambitious, but being so focused on the results.
Right.
And they may not meet your expectations.
Right.
Should we try to let go of that and concentrate more on
Effort.
effort and kind of let go of the results?
Yeah, see,
Just
it's
saying
not,
I did my
it's
best.
not, look, it's quite normal and natural and logical to expect a result when you're doing something. Agreed.
Yes, definitely.
But what happens is we give more importance and more time to thinking about the result than in doing what we should be doing. So if we can detach that and say, okay, let me put my attention fully into what I'm doing. The results take care of themselves. And if even after that, if the result doesn't come out, you can do nothing about it and you can't be blamed. Move forward and do something else. See, the idea is to teach the mind not to get caught up.
Not to get stuck.
Stuck. Move.
I think that's great advice.
Everything is moving. So why can't we allow the mind to move? Isha vashyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. That jagat is all simply called jagat because it's always moving, constantly. And why would we isolate? The whole idea of photography, videos is all actually trying to do the impossible. Nothing stops but we try to freeze.
Yes, very true, very true.
So can we go with the flow? That's what I'm trying to say.
with the flow.
One defeat, okay, leave it, go to the next. Youngsters especially should know that many of the greatest generals and conquerors and scientists have had so many failures. Many of them would have had the same kind of failures, but these overtook them and came up.
Yes. So we should spend more time going with the flow.
Exactly.
Less time
and
worrying
work.
about others and focus on ours.
Absolutely.
Great.
You don't have to say compete with anybody. You do what you do in as excellent a way as possible.
Yeah.
Don't worry what the other guy is doing.